Welcome to the fastest daf in town. Today on Masechtas Avodah Zarah daf Yud, we are going to begin on the very bottom of Testament Beis, the last line. Ha'ushtar. So the Gemara gives a story of a particular document, the Haviksiv Bey, that's written as we continue to Yud and Aleph. Shis Shnin Yeterta. 6 years passed. So what is this? The star was dated 6 years ahead of time of the actual loan. So in the year 2025, it said, well, Moshel 2031. Now, in that case, says Rashi, Shibolefne Beistin, B'shana Shenichta Boy. So they came to Beistin, Umatza Boy, Sheish Shanim Yoiser. There's really another 6 years. They were at year number 500 of Malchus Yavan. However, it mentioned on the document 506 years. Loiva Ploini Miploini, that so-and-so borrowed money from the other guy at year 506. And right now they're holding by year 500. So it's kind of hard to even understand, was this a mistake? V'stam hayikasuv v'lo hayikasuv bo shum malchus. It didn't even mention anything about malchus. It just said the year 516. So again, holding by 500 of malchus yavan, it was hard to know what to do. So several button can be the Rav l'meimer hay shtar me'ucharhu. This is probably shtar me'uchar, which means that it's a post-dated document. And even though the loan said that it was supposed to be chal already, but it was dated for later on. And therefore, because of the akve ad demati zimne, maybe you would wait another 6 years, lo tarif. Now, you can't collect until 6 years from now. Because if the document says 2031 l'mashal, and that's where we're holding by 2025, so then you shouldn't be able to collect until that time. So obviously that person wanted to collect now, but how do you understand? So Rav Nachman, Hai Safra Dukna Kasve, he actually was medayik. He was actually careful in his writing. What do you mean he was medayik? How is he medayik? Because after all, he wrote the wrong date. Says Rashi, medakdik b'cheshbainaisu v'eno hilach acharenu. We may not follow what he does, but he obviously knows what he's talking about. These were 6 years. We don't count those years. However, he did count it. So the scribe wrote it from the beginning of Malchus Shavan. However, not the whole world necessarily counts that, but rather they count 6 years later. And therefore, Vizmani Kasve. So they actually wrote it for the right time, for today. For 6 years they ruled in Elam. So this was the beginning of the reign of the Roman Empire, was 6 years prior, but it wasn't that they were able to rule over the entire world until later on. So the truth is, that's the reason why he was late. You're able to use this document now. It was not considered to be a shtar me'uchar. Question 9. Who started having sibbe shishnin yaterta? Meiz the tam nechshir Rav Nachman l'ingvois miyad to collect right away. V'lo b'zman ha'me'uchar. So as we just said, Titchilos Malchus Yavanim, the beginning of Malchus, it says of the Yavanim, right? This is Malchus. I mentioned Rome. This is Malchus Yavanim. The Greek Empire. Haisa be Elam. It was in Elam. Sheishanim for 6 years. V'haisayfer minol d'chilas malchusa. V'shavahu laminyan shalanu. It's really the same because we calculate it when the Yavanim conquered the entire world. Okay, that's the answer. So it's the same answer. I may have said accidentally Rome, but we're talking about the Greek Empire. Okay. Malchus Yavan. So Maske for Rabbi Bar Yaakov, Malchus Yavanim Maninan. How do we know that he's counting from the beginning of the Malchus of the Greeks? Dilmul Yisias Mitzrayim Maninan. Maybe he's counting from Yisias Mitzrayim. B'shavke Alpha Kama. He left out the first 1,000. V'nakte alpa batra, and he left the last 1,000 years. V'haimochahu. What does that mean? Says Rashi. Bein anan bein hasafra, between us and the scribe. Hai dimaninan. The reason why he counted 506. Dimaninan shin pei shanim kodim chorban, because we counted this was 380 days before the chorban. Lav daitin a malchus yavan el yisis mitzrayim maninan. Maybe again he's counting regarding Yisis Mitzrayim. Why? So we remove the first 1,000 of Yisis Mitzrayim. Alpa Batra. We count by the next 1,000. V'hi shana rishayna liyavan. This is the first year of Yavan. Shepashta malchus b'chol oilam. To me Yisis Mitzrayim v'ad chorban, from the time of the Bnei Yisrael leaving Mitzrayim until the chorban abayis was elef v'shin pei shana, was 1,380 years. Tuf pei shanim, 480 years. Ad binyan bias rishain, 480 years until the binyan bias, and we know there's 410 years of its first binyan. First base of mitzvah was 410, so that equals 900, 890 rather. So you have the 410 plus the 380 from again Yisis Mitzrayim until the until finally the base of mitzvah was built, and then etc. So you have 880 years, 890 years, excuse me. Shivim de Golos Bubble, 70 of Golos Bubble, which would make it now 960. The tough kuf, the bayasheni, and then another 420 in the second base of Mekdash. Hari elef, that's 1,000. V'shin pei shanim, 1,380 years. Malchus Yavan nami pashta b'cholon gimel meyais u'shmonim shanim, and Malchus Yavan also stretched out their hand 380 years. Kodim chorban shutchilos elef shanim. Okay, so basically the kasha is that maybe we're counting from Yisis Mitzrayim. How do we know we're counting from Malchus Yavan? So that's what those numbers could be, and we just won't mention the 1,000, but we're mentioning in the hundreds places. So that's the kasha. So Rav Nachman begoyla ein moinin el malchi Yavanim bilvad. No, because here we're talking about in Chutz La'aretz. In Chutz La'aretz, we count from Malchus Yavan. We don't count from Yisis Mitzrayim. Says Rashi, Ki vandal Malchus Yavan maninan v'ikol mitle lahanach shishnin b'sifra dan ketalin ba lotim be'medchilas hashibud shein kol adam oisin kain. Not everyone follows counting from Yisis Mitzrayim. People, especially Chutz La'aretz, in the diaspora, they count based on whichever king or country they're being ruled. And therefore, that's the reason why the cheshbon of 500 versus 506 was based on Malchus Yavan, because that's what they did in Chutz La'aretz. They thought that this was just pushing them off. Nafik dak v'ashkach, and they actually found Taka that that's true, that we count from Malchus Yavan. Desanya begoyla in moinen ela malchi Yavanim bilvad. It actually says it beferish that that's what we do. Amravina masnisin namideka. I can also prove it to you in this way. Titanan be'echa b'Nisan. It says in Masechtas Rosh Hashanah, the very beginning, that the first day of the month of Nisan is Rosh Hashanah Malachim v'Regalim. It's a Rosh Hashanah regarding kings and Regalim. So so we know Regalim has to do with Baltacher, that we start by Pesach, that if, let's say, you said, I want to bring Karbanos, so if you finish three holidays, it's different opinions, of Pesach, Shavuos, and Sukkot, and it's Kesidron, so then you're Chai Baltacher. But let's say you started the Neder, let's say, after Shavuos, in the summer, so then you have to go through Sukkot and then the whole cycle again. So that's what we learn out over there by Regalim. What's the din by Malachim? When it comes to documents. So yet, when it also says that on there's a Rosh Hashanah in Tishrei for the years, and Shemitah, it also says for years. What does it mean for years? So kasha shtaros adad. This is the Gemara over there. That's the kasha. So when do we write the time on the shtaros? Is it starting from Rosh Hashanah of Tishrei or of Nisan? And the answer is it depends. When it comes to the Melech for Avdi Kachavim, so we start counting from Tishrei, right? So therefore, that's what we do when it comes to if the king is an Avdi Kachavim. So then we start counting from Tishrei. Malchi Yisrael min Nisan min Ninan. However, when it comes to if it's a Yiddish king, then we start counting from the month of Nisan. And we hashtem Tishrei min Ninan. Now, what do? We count also from Tishrei. We also count our New Year's based on the month of Tishrei regarding the king. If we start counting from Yisis Mitzrayim and Nisan, B'inan, obviously, why would we count starting from Tishrei? Yisis Mitzrayim happened on Pesach, which was on Nisan. So obviously, therefore we see clearly the fact that we count from Tishrei, that demonstrates that obviously it's not totally on Yisis Mitzrayim. So he mentions some of the holidays in which they would worship idols, and because of that, halachically, we're not allowed to do business with them even a few days before. So, what exactly is that referring to? So we look in Rashi before this. Alma vadim aninan malchi umois havoy. Ve'enochal malchus beumos medchil shalosh meyes shmeinim shana koidem el malchus yavam. Okay, so again, that's what we knew was malchus yavam. Now, Rabbi Hud. So what is this? Rabbi Huda Yoim shemamidin boy ovdi kachavim es malkum. It's the anniversary of the day they appointed their current emperor. Bosanya, we learned Yoim Ginoisia, and then it also says V'Yoim Shemamidin Boy as Malcolm. So L'char, it sounds like two things. Lokasha, Hadidei, Hadibere. One's referring to him, and one is his son, says Rashi. Kishemamidin Ben Melech B'chayav. When they would appoint the son of a king in his father's lifetime, Lachziko b'melucha, and to strengthen the melucha, Samach Av. So the father was very happy that his son was taking over. And he also would make a Yom Eid. So it's possible that it could be for the emperor, but also a holiday for the son as well. That when he's going to be appointed as well. So that's something which the father is happy that he's going to continue. So that's the answer. Okay. So that's the answer. Hadidei hadibrei. V'ikashalach tolu mukmi malka bar malka. But if you want to establish, if you have a kasha, because you don't want, it says Rashi, Ramoyim malka bar malka, kol hani yoim ideha de mastisin de Ramoyim ninhu, that all the cases in our Mishnah, these are Roman holidays. Kisanu el yom shetosabo roimi malchus v'tani roimi yosa kal nadra. So the question is, do they actually do this in Rome? Do they actually appoint a king, the son of a king? It's only by special request. Going, for example, the person by the name of Asvayirus Bar Antoninus. So he actually succeeded his father, Demalach. So Amalei Antoninus Rabbi Beina de Yimoich as Virum Bri Tachoisi. That Antigonus so he said to Rabbi, because the very close relationship Taninas had with Rabbi, that I need to appoint Asvirus. This was again the son of Antoninus, to take over, to Avid Tavre Kalnyai, and he will free you from taxes. The Emulahu, and if he says Chada Abdi Trelo Abdi, so my advisors did this, so why should I do the same? So I see Gabra Arkave Achavre, a person who's riding on his horse, riding the Yoiv Eloi Biyade, and he gives this dove of sorts into your hands. Says Rashi, Alidei She'ela Noitel Rishus Min Asarim Avakish Amihen Lahamid Benoy Tachtov. So Alidei She'elos Aviv, that sometimes even in Rome they will appoint the son after the father, obviously under certain circumstances, but it wasn't always done that way in the lifetime of the father. Fine. Says Rashi, I see Rabbi Gavra Archave. So he Rabbi had this person to ride. Koimer Herchaves Bincha Lehen. Let him ride the horse. V'lecha tehei tiveria masura biyadai, and it should be given over to you. Okay. So, fine. So sometimes it actually does take place, even in Rome. Yermulei latata amar le'ilah de farach min yada yoina. To let him know that it flew out from his hand a dove. Amar shemamina dechi karmeli. Now, when he says this to me, at boy minaihu, ask the Roman people, the Assyrios Bari, that my son Yimoch Tachtoi, that he should be a king after me. Ve'emole le'asvirus the ta'avid tavaria klanya. So what does that mean? It says Rashi, Bas chayrin shel Chosin masa oil. You should have asked that you should never give taxes at all. You should Yisli Rabbanan Antoninos Asmohay Mishamish Minei Rebbe. He used to serve him. That's why you love the Rabbanan. So he could have actually had him remove the taxes from everyone. So Malay Mitsarinli Chashuvi. It's difficult for me being influential. So have basically Romoy. So have them appoint your son, then let him remove the taxes from Tveria. So Rabbi said, Ma'ayale Lagina bring to the garden, Kol Yom Akarle Pulga Mimishra. Every day they uprooted a row of radishes. Kamei Amr Shemamina Hachi Karmeli At Kotol Chad Minayu, that you will kill them all one by one. Voloi tisgara bahu bakulhu, and not all at the same time. So that's what was alluded to with these row of radishes. Says Rashi, Kalemer hirchav bincha le'en yolecha tehei Tiveria masur biyadei. So Tiveria will be given over to you. Ve'emolei levarech the levarcha v'yoinim min yodeha Kalemer Eved Tiveria Klanyo Haitzi Mitachas Oyli. So as we continue to Yud Amud Beis, V'leima le Meimar Behedya. So why couldn't you just say this explicitly in public? So Omar Shami Be Choshev Roimi Mitzarle, because perhaps they would have caused pain to Rabbi. V'leimule balachash, say it quietly. Mishum dechsiv ki oif hashemayim yoylech hasakoil, that even a little bird in the heavens is going to make noise. Okay. Havile hahu barta dishma gira. So he had a daughter by the name of Gira. Ka'avda isura shadale gar gira. So she did something wrong, and they sent this he sent Rebbe this type of a bird, Shadule kustarasa, and he sent him some coriander, and it comes from the word kares, as though to say that the daughter should be punished. So Shadule karti shalach lechasa. He then eventually sent lettuce. Kol yamahavi shadule dahava. Every time he sent gold pricha, gold dust, bimatrasa, v'chite apumayhu, and wheat on the top to hide it. Armuhu. So that's what he did. He put it to hide the gold dust. So Amrulahu am techiti l'Rebbe. So I have this wheat. So Amrulay Rebbe l'tzrichna, I don't need it. Isli tuva, I have enough. Amrulahavi laman dibratech. Diavil bratoi, Diosu bartech, udas minaihu. So nefik elayu. So now he says, I need to spend the money. The havile hahi nikarta the havi ayel mebese lebase Rebbe. That there was this cave in which Antoninos would go to the base Rebbe. Kol yama havi maisi treyavdi. You always bring two slaves. Chad katlei ababa debei Rebbe. One was at the entrance of Rebbe. He was killed. Chad katlei ababa debeise. Armlei be'inna de isina. I need to come. Well, nishkach gaver kamoch. No one wanted to come because they knew people were being killed. Yomchad ashchi Rav Chanina bar Chama Tav Yosef Omer lo aminu lecha be'inna de isina lo nishkach gaver kamoch. So no one should be here. Or Malay lays din bar inish, that he's not a man. This person is gives such advice that he is like an angel. Or Malay minu leilahu avda digani ababa the kaivalesi, this servant who's sleeping by the gate that people are gonna go. Also Rav Chanina bar Chama ashchi dahavi kotel. He saw that he was dead. And what should I do? He also the Amole, the Kotel. People tells them that he died. Ein Mashivin al Klolo. I'm not supposed to give in to let people know bad things. Why should I do that? So Ashche Viezel so should I go and just leave him? Kamazalzina b'malchusa. It's a mezalzel from the malchus. So Barach Milei v'achia. So the guard actually came back to life. V'shadrei. Yadana Zuti. I know about this person who's Mechai Mason. However, in the other world, there was no one as great as you. He used to always give him food and drink. When he used to go to his bed, he used to bend down. Step on meleporiach to go into your bed. Omar, so Rabbi said, it's a zilzul. You're a powerful person. Omar mi yeshimini matzah tachtecha l'olam haba. Who's going to serve me this rug underneath you in the world to come? Omar yasinu al madasi. Will I be able to come to Olam Haba? So I'm like in. It's only people that do the actions like Esav, but not you. Only people that act like him. So it's mashma that they're all included. So Malchia v'lo kol Malchia. Malchus, but not all of them. Kol Nesiya v'loi kol Sareha. Tanya mihachi Malchia v'loi kol Malcheha, Kol Nesiya v'loi kol Sareha. So what does that mean? Malchia v'loi kol Malchia prat Antoninos ben Asvirus. Then Antoninos is going to be spared. He's going to go lost to the Lavoi to Om Haba. Kol Nesiya v'loi kol Nesara prat Katia bar Shalom. Who's Katia bar Shalom? So Katia bar Shalomai Haviyahu Kisra was a Caesar. The Havit son Hudoi hated the Yidden. Ermelhu l'chashiv de Malchusa Mi she'ololo nima baragloi yiktinena. So anyone who has dead flesh, it should be amputated. V'yichya, and they'll live. O yanichenu v'yitzdayer, or should it? They keep it and be in pain. Amrlo, so they said yiktena v'yichya. Remove that dead flesh from your body, and then you'll live, which is alluding to the Yidden, that they're comparable to this dead flesh and they should be cut off. Amrulhu, so Katiya Bar Shalom, who is a great person, Katiya Bar Shalom said, Chada lo yachal lahu l'kulhu. You won't be able to kill all the Jews. T'chsiv ki ka'arba ruchos hashemayim parashti eschem. They're all spread out. So you're not going to be successful in that attempt anyway. So my karmer, what does that mean? Does it mean is it that we're literally in all different continents in the world? So hi ki arba ruchos miboile. It just means, as we're in Tinus, that the world cannot survive without wind. Below Yisrael. The world needs a Yid. So therefore, you can't kill them out, because the whole world is totally in Israel. And also they're going to end up basically calling about your malchus that you're a killer. Sarmalei Meimer Shaper Kamra. You're saying good point. Mihu kol zachi shadule lekamunyo chalile. So anyone who says this is going to be thrown into the chamber. Kan havi naktin levi azal namule hahi matronisa voili leilfa. Woe is to the ship the azat beloi mas machsa, that it's without taxes. The nafal al reisha fell on her head. Deor lasia, the foreskin. Kita oimer le yavid mechsi Khalifais v'yavarti kika shadulei omer kol nichsoy Rabbi Kiva v'chaveram yotzur Rabbi Kiva v'darish v'hoylar novana v'mechsel mechsel v'night. But when it comes to the lechem upon him, half of it goes to Aaron himself, half to the other. Yotzer baskal v'yarmer katiya bar shalom mezum chayim habo balcho Rabbi v'yarmer yesh kana olamo b'sha'achas v'yesh kana olamo b'kama shonim. So this guy, he was zoiche the Olam Haba immediately, even b'sha'achas. So it shows the greatness of being able to do tshuva, even at the last moment, can spare a person. Okay, we're going to learn more about the relationship of Antoninus and Rabbi on tomorrow's daf. Let's look at maybe another question. Question 10. Kika shtadele amar kol nechasel Rabbi Kiva chavero. Everything should go to Rabbi Kiva and his friends. Mehechan lomer Rabbi Kiva oifen chalukas nechse katia bar shalom beinu levein chavero. How was he able to figure out how to divide everything up? Because by the lechem upon him, Aaron, this is Aaron his children, which is half to Aaron and half to his children. So to here, kivanchi hisker shemo levad hishahu little chel keneged kulam. So therefore, he is zoiche chel keneged everyone else. TA 22. Shema b'Gehenom Edoim. So the name in Gehenom is Edoim. Malchia v'chol Nasiya Malachia v'chol v'loi kol Malchia. Not every king. Kol Nasiya v'loi kol Sareha. So mi nismatu, who is excluded that they won't go to Gehenom? That's Antoninus as well as Katiya bar Shalom. Question TB 23, same thing. Miris Bayet, Antoninus, and also the Chalik. I don't know what I wrote. Shel Parsa. Rabbi Kiva Shukaino Lama B'Shachas. I got the guy's name wrong because it's not the most common name, but his name was, as we just learned. Who was spared? Katiya bar Shalom. Let's write that down. Katiya Bar Shalom. Adkan.